Guardian Group. Live safe. Live easy.
The most powerful name in talk. I-95.5 FM. Trinidad.
I-95.5 FM presents Inside Insurance. Listen now as John Gill teams up with Guardian Group insurance experts to tell you all you need to know about insurance. Here now is Inside Insurance.
Hi, good afternoon. Welcome. It's 3:30 in TNT, and it's time for Inside Insurance, brought to you by Guardian Group. And this is our second installment. And just to let you know what the program is about, Inside Insurance is a program designed to support the understanding, you the listener, your understanding of the importance of insurance as a key tool in a successful financial plan and in protecting the lives of those you love. It's a legacy of love that ensures a peace of mind that you and your loved ones are protected now, and in the future for a fraction of the cost needed to do so. And last week on our first program, we looked at insurance in general, both life and general insurance. We looked at the importance of insurance, the importance of insurance as a key in successful financial planning. We looked at the fact that when you're doing financial planning, one of the most essential elements is the element of time. And we looked at insurance as that tool that can eliminate time, because one of the things that with time is with financial planning, and you need to have the time to do it, is that there are a number of things that could happen that could short circuit the time that you have or you thought that you would have had. And insurance, as we saw, is that key factor in establishing a financial plan where you get to transfer that risk of not having time onto the insurance company for a fraction of the cost of what it would cost. So that's what we did last week. Looked at insurance in general, and we saw that insurance can protect against the unexpected risks that can occur at any time. And what, as I said before, insurance does is transfer that risk from the policyholder to the insurance company for a fraction of the cost of what it would take. And that is what is known as your premium. Right? This week, we'll be talking about life insurance in particular. And my expert this afternoon is none other than Mr. Richard Frietas. And let me tell you a little bit about Richard. Richard joined Guardian Life in 1991 at the tender age of 22. And he's still rather young. And as a sales representative, and he was promoted to executive agent in 1997. He has been he's the recipient of numerous industry and company accolades. One of those highlights being when he copped the coveted Top Producer Award in 2002. In 2008, Richard was promoted to unit manager under the Vernal Fingal branch, where he currently does recruiting, training, and development of new insurance advisors. So that was a brief bio of Mr. Richard Frietas. So let me say good afternoon to Richard and welcome to Inside Insurance.
Good afternoon, John, and good afternoon to our listeners on I-95.5.
Right. So as we said today, the topic today will be life insurance. We're going to take a short break and we're going to come back and start dealing with life insurance.
As insurance agents, we sometimes wonder if we fully appreciate what we do when we make a sales call and how that simple sales call can impact generations yet to be born. My name is Lennox Barrow and I'm a sales manager at Guardian Group. Over the years, I've often seen that it is really only when the unexpected happens that we see how important, how life-changing, and how comforting the safety net is. For some, it alleviates the burden of funeral expenses. For others, it's fulfilling the dream of owning a home or sending the kids off for a tertiary education. For many, it's simply the peace of mind of knowing that you're not alone and don't have to worry. What will it be for you?
Call your Guardian Group agent at 800-5433. Guardian Group. Live easy.
All right, so welcome back to Inside Insurance. And again, I am here with our resource person, our expert today, Mr. Richard Frietas, and we're going to be talking life insurance. Now, before we get into the meat of the program, I want to let all listeners know if you have any questions regarding life insurance, you can email insideinsure@gmail. That's INSIDEINSURE@gmail.com. Email your questions or your comments, and we will deal with them as the program goes on. You can also text 4955 as well. Right, so Richard, again, welcome, and let's start talking a little bit about insurance.
Yes.
What is, or rather, what are the different types of life insurance that are available?
Well, John, before I answer that, let me. I want to make one statement, which would sort of crystallize for our listeners really what life insurance is. When we speak about life insurance, we really talk about the miracle of life insurance, and this miracle works this way: it is the only financial instrument known to man that works regardless of time, and you spoke of that just now. If you have time, like all other financial instruments, it accumulates money. However, unlike other financial instruments, if you don't have time, and by that I mean if the hazards of life would pay you a visit, you see, it creates money. And in essence, that is really what life insurance is about. So, for listeners, let me talk a little bit about the different types of insurance policies or products that
the different types of life insurance policies.
Yeah. I'd start off with term insurance, and term insurance, as the word implies, it's coverage, life insurance coverage for a period of time. That term could be maybe 10, 20 to age 60 or 65, and so on. And the benefit of something like term insurance is that it gives you coverage for the lowest cost possible.
Is that what they call no-frills insurance, though, Richard?
Yes, more or less, it is. More or less.
So that's just basic coverage for a period of time?
Yes.
Whether it be 5, 10, 15, 20 years. Let me make sure I understand.
Right.
Or it can go from to age 60 or 65.
Or maybe later.
Or maybe later.
Correct.
All right, good.
Correct. Yes. And term insurances can be used for like short-term loans and so on. Right? The other types that are on the market, and these are probably what older plans. You have whole life. There are a couple, I believe, most of the companies have moved away from that, and for good reason, and I'll give a short thing on that just now. And endowment plans. And you have as well what has really emerged out of, let's say, the moving away from whole life and endowment plans would be universal life and unit-linked plans. So let me give a brief thing on those. Whole life plans, as the word implies, as the term implied, insure you for your entire life, and usually up to age 100. And those plans really were administratively, they were costly. What they did was to provide life insurance for clients, but also build and give guarantees in terms of equity and cash values. Insurance companies in determining those cash values would have been very conservative and would have taken quite a bit of risk as you would imagine, John, to guarantee a cash value for 60 to maybe 50 years down the road and so on, right? So they would have had to be conservative in their estimations, as well as the cost of administering such plans were heavy. The clients really didn't benefit as much as they could have. But
with whole life, it was the element of insurance with also an element of saving.
Correct.
Yeah.
And that is always the thinking. And in my statement before, when I spoke about building, creating value regardless of time, that's what we're talking about. You had the advent of mutual funds. And with that came the unit-linked plans. Mutual funds, as you know, would be a mix of investments and so on. And what the companies did really would have been to move more to that side in an attempt to give the benefit of both coverage and investment to clients,
Right.
at a lower cost.
So they moved away from a bit of savings, which, to investment, but
Yes.
so that the client could benefit a little more from having plans that were unit linked.
Certainly,
Yeah.
because with mutual funds, as you know, over an extended period of time, there is certainly going to be appreciation, growth, and interest, and so on, income and growth, and clients benefited from that type of plan more than they would have under these whole life plans.
Now, and of course, there's also group insurance.
Yes,
Right, as part of life insurance, where
correct. Through a company and a corporation and establishment, you can issue for employee benefits, really, group coverage. And the thinking behind that is, of course, in the event of any unforeseen circumstance where an employee meets his demise, instead of the employer having to find funds to pay the family, this group life coverage would have covered those things.
Yeah. And also, too, there's the benefit of, because it's offered to a group, the premiums tend to be a little lower and so forth.
Certainly.
Yeah.
Certainly.
Those are some of the benefits.
Yes.
Now, tell me, people always hear about riders. What is a rider?
Yes. Well, a rider would just simply be additional benefits. That is what it is. And to best describe it, really, I need to give you an example. One of the popular riders would be accidental death and permanent disablement provision. And what that means, really, is that, so you have your basic life insurance policy that would pay in the event of death. But should that death occur via violent means or an accident, then the term double indemnity comes into play. And usually the basic policy will pay, as well as that benefit will pay a sum assured as well. So in instances where a client purchases life insurance together with a rider such as I described, then the total sum payout can be doubled.
All right. Could be as much as double.
Could be as much as double.
Right. But there are also other riders that are now available on insurance policies,
Sure.
like critical illness.
Yes.
Yes. Can you give us some of the other riders?
Yeah. Well, you have waiver of premium. That works similarly to the accidental death and dismemberment rider in terms of how it kicks in. What has to happen for that benefit to actually kick in? And it would be the event occurring of an accidental disablement. What the company does with a waiver of premium is that they would say, okay, well, since you've become disabled,
and you can't work.
You can't work and you can't pay your premiums. Obviously, they don't expect you to pay your premiums. They pay your premiums for you till mature.
Right.
Yes.
So that your insurance remains intact.
Remains intact. Correct.
Until you're dead.
So that's the benefit.
Yeah. Okay.
With a critical illness rider, I mean, there are critical illness riders and then there are critical illness plans that stand alone. As a rider, what that does is simply provide coverage in the event the person is deemed diagnosed with a critical illness. Yes.
Right. All right. So that in a nutshell tells us a little bit about life insurance and some of the riders available on a life insurance policy.
Yes.
Now, how can someone determine what is best for them?
Yeah. Well, I mean, that usually is a question that when you're talking with clients, you get all the time. They'll ask you, so what's the best plan that you have for me, and so on. Well, let me start by answering that by saying that all the plans are best plans. It depends on the situation. And so when we meet with clients, it's really finding something that is it's adequate and appropriate for their peculiar situation. The best plan for you really would be the one that you sit with an advisor and have a financial conversation where he can assess the extent of your financial responsibilities and so on, and make
proper recommendations.
Yeah.
Now, all right, so that's fantastic because there's no kind of one plan fits all. It depends on your particular situation, your particular needs, and as you said, your particular financial responsibilities.
Yes, that's right.
All right. Now, what causes one premium to differ from another between two people? Let's say of the same age, same sex. Everything seems the same, but the premiums can be different. Why?
Well, one of the things off the top would be your lifestyle, your vocation, occupation. Those are things that can affect one premium from another. Family history, for example, can also impact your life insurance premiums. When the underwriters would be assessing a risk, while someone might be the same age, their lifestyle, John, can differ.
For example, if you're a smoker.
That's correct. That's correct. Yes, and occupation as well.
Or occupation as well can determine, because it would elevate the risk factor.
That's
and
correct.
Once the risk is increased, the premium can increase, although two people may be of the same age, gender,
That's
etc.
right.
All right, good. When is the best time, though? I suppose everybody would ask that. When is the best time to take out an insurance policy? When you're young, when you're old, when you're middle age, what? When is the best time to take out an insurance policy?
Well, the best time is always today. And by that I mean life insurance premiums would increase based on age. Well, that's one of the definite reasons insurance premiums will increase. And today you will be the youngest person you will ever be. Today. Tomorrow you're not going to be as young as you were yesterday. Okay? And life insurance premiums, because it's determined by that factor, today would be the best time to
always
purchase.
The best time.
The other thing about today, the other thing about today is that we know what your health is today. We don't know what your health would be tomorrow. And therefore, today, right now, is the best time.
All right, on that note, we'll take a short break. When we come back, we'll talk about choosing your agent.
It is funny how when you are young, you think you will live forever. My name is Janice Berkeley Ives. I am a mother, a public servant, and I'm also a widow. Until my husband's death, I really did not know much about insurance. But his foresight and his relationship with Guardian Group truly changed my life. You see, my husband died 6 weeks after our third child was born. And it was the insurance policies from Guardian Group that allowed us to continue living and enjoying life after his passing. Every day I thank him for thinking of our future. Maybe it is time you think about yours.
Call your Guardian Group agent at 800-5433. Guardian Group. Live easy.
All right, welcome back to Inside Insurance, brought to you by the Guardian Group. And again, in studio with me, insurance expert, Mr. Richard Frietas. And Richard, as I said before we went to the break, how do you choose the agent?
Well, John, more times than not, the agent chooses you. Mm-hmm. Yes, because, unlike many of the other financial organizations, life insurance really is sold by us going out to the market. The things that you look for, though, because you would probably be called by more than one agent, and the things that you look for would be maybe the person's track record. The things that help you determine that would be maybe that agent came to you via referral from someone that you trust, someone that would have done business with this person recently, and all of that. It is the customer's right, the client's right, of course, to ask the insurance agent things about, how have they developed in terms of doing the industry courses, what sort of awards and accolades things they would have achieved in their career. Determine their commitment, really. Is this someone that is a career agent and is going to look after you and your resources? Yes. Those are the things that you look for. John, I would also want to say that, at Guardian, the way we equip our agents, the type of training that we do, and so on, really, it is with the client in mind. We want to ensure that our advisors are career advisors, and they are there to see clients' portfolios properly developed, and that clients can really have the confidence when they're dealing with a Guardian Life agent that they're dealing with a professional.
Now, and that sounds really, really good, because if you have a track record and so forth. But, for example, when you joined at the tender age of 22, was it?
Sure.
You didn't have all of those things. You didn't have the track record. You didn't have the accolades as yet. You know, you were a rookie, as they would say. You may have had the commitment. You may have had the persistency. You may have had the knowledge. Some knowledge, maybe not as much as you have now. So, how can a young agent succeed in a business where, based on what you just said, in terms of someone choosing an agent?
Yes. Well, I mean, first of all, the agent works somewhere. He works within a network. He works within a branch. He would have mentors. He would have supervisors. He would have a manager that guides and so on. Take, for instance, my situation when I came in at 22. The people around me were in their 40s, in their 50s, and would have been working in the company for maybe upwards of 15, 20 years. What I did there and what we were able to do, what they did for me would have been, I would have had discussions with them in terms of recommendations. I would have gone through certain information with my manager. And when I went to a client, I had the confidence that the recommendations that I would have been making would have been sound recommendations based on, the experience of managers, of seasoned agents who would have been doing this for a number of years. So we never leave young agents on their own.
Right.
They always have the guidance and support of managers.
Yeah. Because the next question I was about to ask you is that you are now in the position of a unit manager. That means you are responsible for bringing in young agents, training them, making them ready.
That's right.
For the field.
Yes.
Right. So that's part of what you do now.
Yes.
So that's excellent. Okay. Now, we are still talking life insurance, and there are a number of companies out there. How does one choose the right company now?
Yeah. Well, that's an interesting question. What I will say is that all the insurance companies that operate in the market today, we have to meet all the necessary regulatory requirements and the statutory requirements and so on. And we work and transact and operate our business under the guidance of the central bank. Now, first and foremost, you are going to be looking at a company. You're looking at companies that are in the market for and this is their core business and so on. When choosing a company, you can have the confidence that insurance companies are now very regulated. Yeah, so you can have that confidence. What makes the difference? Apart from the balance sheet, well, then you have to look at, the company that is maybe on the cusp of leveraging technology. Are they bringing new things to the market? What are their results? I understand that last year, for 2014, I think it's public knowledge, Guardian would have had 400 million profit margin and so on. And these are the things that you look for when you're choosing an insurance company. Not just that we are, leading in terms of the new technologies and so on, and the systems that we use and so on, but those are the things that you look for.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, I want to remind listeners, if you have any questions, please, you can either text 4955 or forward them via email to insideinsure, INSIDEINSURE @gmail.com. So if you have any questions, please forward them, and we will make those questions part of our discussion week by week. So we have understood what life. I hope we have been able to make it clear to you what life insurance is, what it can do, the different types of life insurance, from term to whole life to unit-based policies, endowments, group life, etc. We try to make it clear to you what causes premiums to change, and as Richard quite correctly explained, that people of the same age, sex, and so forth can have different premiums depending on their occupational risk, their lifestyle, and other factors that can, in fact, impact on the risk. So that is what will make a premium, one premium, different to another person, although they may be of the same gender, same gender, same age, and so forth. So these factors can, in fact, alter a premium.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So we have just about 5 minutes before we get ready to close. Richard, I want to turn it over to you. Are there any closing remarks you would like to let the public know about life insurance and the importance of life insurance?
Yes.
And I like what you said about life insurance. When is the best time? Today.
It's today. Correct. John, yes, I want to add to our listeners out there, when you meet with an insurance advisor, we're not selling just life insurance. We're not just selling a life insurance policy. We're not just out there trying to push anything like that on you. But I want you to understand what we do. What you actually purchase is dignity and comfort in retirement. That's what you do when you purchase an insurance policy. You also purchase your family's survival and well-being into the future. These are the things, these are the benefits of life insurance. Your child's education. Yes? And John, I'll tell you something. For a lot of parents, if I were to ask a parent, what do you want for your child? They would tell me, I want a good, sound education for that child. And as long as they're here on above ground, that is something that they would work hard to ensure. And then the question is, so God forbid, if one of these hazards met you and you're no longer here and you're looking down on your child from the great beyond, would you want the same thing? Would you want your child to get a sound education? The answer is usually yes.
Yeah.
How can you ensure that if you're not around?
And the answer is life
insurance.
That's right. And if you want your family to be able to continue in the same home, the comfortable home that you've provided, and if you don't, as you said, have the time, if you're not there to actually physically do it,
that's right.
The way to ensure that they continue to live in that beautiful home that you provide
and maintain the standard
of living.
Yes.
Life insurance.
That's right.
So, as earlier we said it, life insurance is really a gift of love, isn't it?
It is. It is a legacy of love.
Yeah.
Yes.
Not just a gift, a legacy.
A legacy of love.
A legacy of love. Right. So, Richard, I want to thank you very much. And once again, this has been Inside Insurance, brought to you by Guardian, the Guardian Group. And again, if you have questions, any questions of life insurance, any type of insurance, whether it be life or general, feel free to email us at insideinsure@gmail.com. That's INSIDEINSURE@gmail.com. Right. So, Richard, once again, thank you very much.
Thank you.
And all the best in the future. Hope we meet again on this forum.
I'm sure we will. Thanks for having me, and have a great afternoon, all the I-95 listeners.
Right. So, and that was, of course, Inside Insurance. And we will be on not next Friday. Next Friday is actually Good Friday. So we'll be back on April 10th. And the topic of discussion then would be car insurance. So if you have any questions that you would like answered on car insurance, feel free to email us at insideinsure@gmail.com.